don't have anything to write down stuff, but all right. You shared this to your story?
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we're good. Yeah, we've gotten like over 3 inches of rain this week, and it's been yeah, my dogs are like cooped up too much with the rain, and
Yeah.
it's like we try to just get them to use the bathroom and then try not to get them soaking wet because they're
Yeah.
gold with a lot of hair, so it's like it's a pain. But today the rain stopped like right when we wanted to go for a walk, so we went on a really long one. So hopefully they're tired tonight.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yep. Stephanie, thanks for joining. As always. Give it another minute or so and then jump into the topic. We got both of us back today, and we're going to talk about some good stuff. So hopefully you guys are taking notes.
Yeah. As I'm writing down or going over notes, I'm like, oh yeah, these are some pretty good ways to get your price down.
Yep. It's a good reminder. Good reminder.
Yeah.
All right. You about ready to jump in?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. So today's topic, we thought we would go over basically every means that we know to reduce the price or potentially reduce the price on inventory that you're buying, whether that's through discounts, whether that's through email lists, whether that's through discounted gift cards, basically any way to get a discount, any way to find the discounts, any way to pay attention to when sites are running sales. Cause it's one thing of, finding the site-wide sales, but there's ways to get added discounts on top of that. So we've been, both of us, if you're new here, both of us have been selling for, well, Jonathan, I think over 4 years, I'm over 3 years. So we have a lot of experience, looking for discounts, finding ways to save money on inventory wherever we can. So I feel like we have a lot of knowledge to share on this topic. So we're just going to start ripping off, different ideas and different ways to get a little bit of a cheaper buy cost. And if you guys have questions on this topic or any other topics, feel free to drop them in the chat. Looks like we got a question already. But yeah, we'll just be chatting back and forth, and you guys ask the questions when you have some. So Nico asks, what's the best way to actually see the actual sell-through rate of a product with lots of variations? Well, there's a couple different ways to understand that. So actually, Amazon just did implement a feature. Now, this only shows up on products that sell pretty quickly, that have a pretty low sales rank. But basically, you'll see, on Keepa, there's this yellow line in the middle chart. You got the top chart, which is price history, buy box price, and the sales rank. You have the bottom one, which is the offer count and the reviews. And then that middle one, which shows like the sub ranks, now will show monthly sold on certain products. So that's a pretty, seemingly pretty accurate representation of how often that specific variation sells. So again, that's only going to show up on listings that sell at least 50 times per month. That's like the minimum threshold. And it only goes up in increments of 50. So if it sells, 75 times a month, it might round up to 100, so it's I guess, it's accurate to a point, which is great. It's definitely more data than we've had in the past. Otherwise, the Keepa variations, John, you want to talk about maybe how you go about managing what you think how fast you think variations sell?
Yeah, I mean, first things first, I never try to guess perfectly. I just have accepted like you'll never perfectly understand. And some charts, things will move faster than you could ever imagine, and some will move slower than you can imagine. And even if to the eye, you don't fully understand why, right? So I think that's a good baseline. What I like to do in variations, if you go to, what is it, offers, right? You're going to see all the different variations, and you're going to see there's a tab that shows the percentage of ratings that they get. So just for round numbers, if there's 10 variations and there's 100 total reviews, and they each got 10 reviews, each variation, then they would say 10% for each of them, because 10 variations, 10% each would equal 100, right? But if contrarily, if there was 10 products, 10 variations, and one of them had a percentage of 34%, one had 17, one had 12, 9, well, I would try to calculate, make an estimate of how many times do I think this product, the parent, sells in a month. So if I think it sells 100 times in a month and the percentage next to it is 34%, you can loosely say you think it's going to sell 34 times in a month. I know this is kind of overview when we're not in Keepa, but basically that's how you use the rating column. You can filter it by percentage there, and you still have to come up with your own calculation on how much it's selling in general, but that's how you know where to put more weight for the variation.
Yep. And just to add more context to that, because again, that's accurate to a point, but you're going to notice some of the listings will, or some of the variations will have a ton of reviews, but it might not say, like, you'll see sometimes, like I saw this on a listing recently where it was a shoe listing. The top variation was like, had like 3,000 reviews or ratings, I guess, 3,000 ratings. And then that one had, sells 100 times per month. Well, then there was one that had, you scroll way down the list, and a different variation had maybe 50 reviews, 50 ratings. So 3,000 to 50. And then the one that had 50 ratings still said it sold 50 times per month. So, it's kind of like the ratings have happened over time, but if the product's been listed on Amazon for a long time, years, it has a long time to generate those ratings. So Keepa also does offer a little chart that you can put next to the ratings to see how recently some of those ratings have happened on that variation. So you can see kind of that ratings increase over time, over the last 3 months, 6 months, whatever that is. So you can kind of see, like, has this product actually gotten rated or reviewed in the last 3 months, or did that all happen, 2 years ago?
Right.
Did it get all of its ratings? So all of that, we're using all these different things as context. We've both mentioned, like, we don't buy based off of one data point. We need to see a couple different data points to help build some context, to give us confidence that the data we're looking at is going to be that way when we're ready to sell the product. David asks, if no coupons come up from the extensions and you're about 30% away from a good buy, do you always manually look for coupons at that point?
30% is a pretty good chunk. You got to get pretty lucky to find a random 30% off coupon, Yep.
Yeah. If it's a really good chart and maybe you're a little closer, like say 20%. I mean, both of us have different spreadsheets that we're tracking. Like, if you think that it's a really good product and the competition's low, and if this one site just ran a 20% off discount, or this category went on sale, or if you have tracking software, you can definitely track certain things. You can even go away from tracking the price of the product and track the price of the buy box, right? If the Keepa also has indicators where you can set an alert for yourself when the buy box increases 20% or 30%, say, from where it is now, and you can still buy it at the same price, there's your 30% margin, right? The Keepa chart went up instead of the price going down. So 30%, like we said, it's going to be tough to get a 30% chunk unless you're thinking like Black Friday sales. That's probably the only time you're going to see major sites run 30% discounts. But you can always track products if they seem good, but you just need a little bit more push.
Save it and revisit it, because there will be probably a time or two a year that, for one, you don't need 30% because maybe it's a better time in the buying cycle, right? Maybe supply has gone down, price has gone up, so you don't need as much of a discount. And B, as Alex mentioned, there's a couple holidays throughout the year that could be heavily discounted, especially depending on the brand, the site, etc. Great example of, you're probably too far away today, come back to it.
Yep, exactly. Bruce asked, I just started shipping to Amazon again. Now they want to charge me an extra $5 to send to another part of the country.
Get
Yeah.
used to it. That's it. I mean,
Yeah, that's not much else to say there. Amazon's added some new fees this year, and it's kind of a pain, but we just roll the punches and find if you got to make up for that $5, then maybe skip those 25% ROI products you're purchasing and focus on the 40%, 50% items, and you'll find that margin gets made up pretty quickly. Nico, of course. Any other questions? Let us know. We're getting some really good questions on pricing. We're kind of answering some of our topic for us, which is great. David said, "Oh, I usually look for a break-even price when sourcing, assuming discounts. What's more realistic to assume, like 20% discount?"
If you don't know of a coupon to use, I mean, I feel like you can probably almost always count on a 10%, let's say. But like, I would 20 is pretty generous for a lot of sites.
Yeah, you're going to bog yourself down if you're tracking those types of products all the time. But if you're tracking, like, say, a vitamin and you're like, I need 15%, I can't find it anywhere, but it sells on like a Walgreens or a VitaShop or a VitaCost or something, and you historically know that those sites do run those 15, 20% off sales pretty often, then maybe it's more worth tracking. Just I think just looking at some of those types of products, understanding which sites they're on, and then understanding when those sites, watch those sites over the next month and a half and see, have they run any sales that are close to the 20% that you need? If so, keep an eye on that product. If not, maybe you just got to wait for some better data to come around.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about, like, where, I guess, we answered some questions here about some of the stuff we're going to talk about, but like, let's just maybe high level rattle off some of the ways we can get the price cheaper than what the site's offering it, other than say like a site-wide sale. Like, that's pretty obvious,
right?
But what other ways can we reduce that price?
My favorite that I have here front and center is a catch-all email. Okay. And for anybody not familiar, you can sign up for a catch-all email for like, $10 a year or something crazy like that. And basically what it is you're going to pick a domain. So like, let's just say dukedoesamazon.com. If I type in, when I check out Jonathan 1, Jonathan 2, Jonathan 3, 1, 2, 3, Jonathan, infinite things before at dukedoesamazon.com, it appears as a different email address to the site, but it's still all going to one email inbox that I've created. Okay. And actually, you can even forward that to like a typical Gmail account. So you don't even need a new inbox. And the reason this is valuable is because so many sites have new sign up discounts, 15, 20%. And you find the ones that you can do this all day long. I literally do this on certain sites every single time I buy from them. And when I look at the big scheme of things, that has had to save me tens of thousands of dollars. And to me, that's like 1A is a catch-all email. There's definitely videos out there how to do it. It's not too complex, but at least you can understand the theory. And Alex put us on recently. I wasn't even in tune with this. You can have a catch-all texting app as well, because sometimes you can only use a phone number so many times. So that's what I'll start with. What about you?
Yeah. I love the catch-all. I've been using it for years. Actually, I think Dick's Sporting Goods banned me from using too many catch-all. They didn't ban me from buying, but like, I used the discount so many times with different emails, and it must have found my IP somehow. And I tried ordering a couple times, and with the catch-all, the order kept getting canceled, and it was something that I was ordering, or it was like a replen. So I'm like, why is this getting canceled? I reached out to customer service, and they said, you can't use discounts on your order anymore, other than like, gift cards and stuff. So I'm like, okay. So I was limited from Dick's Sporting Goods, because that 10%, I mean, that's a pretty big jump in margin if you can get that. But the sites that do run catch-alls are, you just to name a few, you do have Dick's Sporting Goods, that's a 10%. I think all the other affiliates of Dick's Sporting Goods has the 10%, like Golfland, or whatever their affiliates are. They have a couple sites that are very similar. Same with like a Walgreens. They have, if you create a new account each time, they give you 25% for your first purchase.
Does that work for you? I've had bad success with Walgreens trying to use that.
You can get the coupon once, but they don't allow you to have multiple. If you're using like the same address and phone number, you can't have multiple rewards accounts. So you can get the discount one time, but you can't, like, you know how you spend a certain amount of money, or they have coupons clipped where you can get $7 if you spend 30 in rewards. That you can't have multiple rewards accounts, because I've tried that, and then they just transfer from my old, like the phone number linked or something, and then it transferred to the other account. But either way, my favorite, one of my favorite ways to get discounts is through discounted gift cards. And I think some people have, different opinions on it, and I'll just tell you, I guess, how I'm utilizing them, because I'm not spending every dollar on inventory on a discounted gift card, but there are times when it is really valuable to the purchase price and also the scenario of the listing. So I'll talk about that scenario. So, a lot of sites will have, like, if you use a Card Cash or a Raise.com, they will have, discounted gift cards. Sometimes it's 2%, sometimes it's 5%. Some sites will have, 8 to 15% off, your order, and their gift cards will be $100, $200, $300. So if you can buy 15 units of something sitting at, a $300 buy cost, and you're getting it for 15% of that is $45 cheaper, right? That's a huge buy cost difference from what everyone else is buying at, not using that gift card. So there are times when it just blatantly makes sense to use a gift card. Now, at what point would I use like 4%, 5%? Well, some listings you're going to see are just not profitable with anything other than the gift card, right? So like you're buying something, you use the 20, right? You maybe it's Walgreens. I don't think Walgreens has gift cards, but discounted gift cards. But let's just assume that they did. You use the buy one get one 50% off on the vitamins, and then you stack a 20% off on that, and you're still not quite close enough. To me, it's like, if I can get to the right, number with a gift card, in my mind, a lot of sellers aren't doing that, or they're stopping once they know they can't get to the right price. So if I can, find whatever I can, right, the gift card or a reward, right? Rewards too, I think, all in tandem. If you can use every means besides a discount that everybody else has access to get to that price, I find that those listings tank way less than other listings where you're only using, right, discounts that the website offers. So again, I'm not using the gift cards all the time. They are nice at points, but there are times when it's like I could get 6%, but the site maybe could cancel my order because I'm ordering 10. And if that happens, then you're stuck with, $200, $300 in gift cards, and you got to figure out how to buy them with something else. Or certain sites, you're buying quickly. Like I have in stock alerts set on things. I get an email saying, hey, this is in stock. There's only 6 units left. If I have to spend time logging into my gift card account, buy the gift cards, wait till they send to my email, and then by that time the product could be out of stock. So sometimes speed could be an issue with the gift cards too. So I'm pretty particular about when I'm buying them. They have helped me a ton in the past, but I have gotten burned in the past too, buying stuff, and again, something's out of stock, or the order got canceled a day later, and now I got to remember that I have the gift card. So I am tracking the gift card prices, and I have a VA that's helping me track all of that stuff. So if something does get canceled, or I get returns on something, in the future, I will know that there's a balance on those cards. Because if you just let them go and there's, $10 on this card and you forget about it, and 15 on this card and you forget about it, that stuff adds up. But if you're tracking it, I think there is value there.
Yep. Another one I got is, so many sites are Shopify sites. So if you're ever close, and this is pretty much for any site, if you're close, I'll hit on 2 here because they go hand in hand. If you're close, throw it in the cart, okay? And then this leaves me to make sure you have Retail Me Not as an extension, as well as Capital One Shopping and Honey and those type of things. There's could be discounts you don't know about. So you put it in the cart, you just hope for the best. Sometimes it works. another thing for Shopify, and you'll start, if you're not familiar, you can easily pick out a Shopify site once you see them a couple times. Generic terms like new 10, welcome 15. You'd be surprised how many times that works. Okay. So, moral of the story there is if you're close, put it in the cart. Try generic if it's a Shopify. Try running Capital One and Honey. And while I'm here, I'll just rattle off because it goes hand in hand to the cart thing. You can put it in your cart. If that doesn't work, literally leave the site. And then some things have generated emails or text 30 minutes later, hour later, 12 hours later. Oh, hey, you left something in the cart. Here's 20% off, right? And then you keep that in mind and you can do that again and again in the future. And then the last thing I'll say is sometimes if you're close on something, I find this to be with specific items, you start to get a feel for it. I find this a lot with like private label, not private label, but like not mainstream beauty or health supplement products. Let's say it's like, oh, buy 6 and it's, majorly discounted. You buy them. And then after you check out, it'll be a pop-up and say, oh, one-time offer, another 6 for half off, right? And if somehow you have the know or the ability to do that or somehow know that that's going to happen, well, that's a huge competitive advantage. So moral of the story there, put things in the cart, run the extensions, generic codes for Shopify, sometimes leave the cart and come back. So if you're ever close, put it in the cart, and then you have a variety of things to do.
Yep. Before I throw out another one, let's go to the chat. We got a couple questions again. David says, I feel like I'm doing this all wrong. So you guys go through Google and are looking to see your buy price displayed. So if I'm understanding that, I guess we're looking for, we're looking through Google, right? We're seeing like what it's listed at. But we're also, at this point, we're in the know which websites run discounts often. We've been on these websites for years. So what we're knowing, like, okay, a holiday's coming up. We know this website's probably going to run a 20% off or a 15% off, or, just randomly, like weekends, this site's probably got a sale running, at least on a certain brand or a certain category, right? And then we've been selling these brands and categories for long enough where we know, all right, there's a couple of replens we know we can probably buy this weekend when that sale hits. So it's kind of a lot of tracking. It's a lot of understanding which websites are going to be best for that product. Did you interpret that question any differently?
So I see he just put another comment. So he put, okay. So you assume 0 discounts if you don't know the site it's coming from. Okay. So a couple things. It depends. So like if I'm doing hypothetically an out of stock search, I'm just trying to find the product. I'm not banking on necessarily finding it at a discount, right? Contrarily, I have a lot of products. I know they only make sense if a certain discount is happening. Once you do it more and more, like it's kind of rare that you just get the random lucky 20% off. You kind of know I can use a catch-all email here for 20% off. I got an email about this. I got a tip from someone that right now this brand is double stacking coupons at this site, right? But, if I was newer and just searching, I guess the only time I would just go blindly is manual sourcing, or like I'm just on a site. I don't know what I'm looking for and I'm just typing in keywords. I'm not even so concerned about the price at that point. So I don't know that I have an exact answer to that. But if I'm seeking out a product, I kind of know what my price point has to be. Now that could be full price, that could be discounted or whatever, but it's rare that I think it's rare that you just find prices face value and then a 20% coupon is just going to save you. But again, I don't know that I fully interpret the ask either. Hopefully that was close.
I think so. And I do want to say, like, kind of lost my train of thought there.
All good.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. We'll David, if you got anything else to add there, we'll definitely answer it. Anyone else having issues with Adidas Regate? Denied my application. Now 100 units stranded. Reapply, but have to wait another week for decision. Yeah, I think it's just like another random regate. I don't think it's anything that you shouldn't get re-ungated for if you have the right invoice, and it's just going to take time. I'm sure Amazon got flooded with reapplications, so I can imagine they're probably behind on it, or it's going to take a little bit longer. Seeing that probably thousands of sellers reapplied to get ungated in Adidas again in the last week, so I have plenty of friends in the space who have already gotten ungated again, so I know it's possible. I think it's just going to be a thing that takes a little bit of time. Nico, can they stop accepting ungate requests for a particular brand if you submit too many times?
I don't think
That's
so.
what I know of. Nope. Just keep submitting. If you're having trouble just submitting the invoice, I know that submitting like delivery confirmation emails in a PDF is also going to be helpful, because then they see that, yes, you ordered it, you paid for it, and it also arrived to, the shipping address or the address you have on your account too. So, hang on one second. Okay, so David says, makes sense. Thank you. When I'm Googling products, I'm just going to assume 10 to 15% discount max. Yeah, and I mean, you can search the stuff pretty quickly. You don't have to just, assume that a price is a price. You can, if you're using SellerAmp or whatever tool you're using to search, go to Google, search the product, the title, and you'll see, certain websites. You click into that website, and pretty quickly you'll know if you can get a discount on them. Sometimes Google will show in that shopping kind of top tab, they'll have like the price listed, and then right below it, they'll have, different price at checkout, and you click on that, and then they like give you the discount right there. So, little more competition maybe that way, but you can pretty quickly find out the discount on the site. It might take you 30 seconds or less, if you're doing product research, and you might get quicker. It might take a while, the first, couple days of sourcing like that, but it'll probably, you'll speed up over time the more you do it. All right. Brandy asks, do you feel like Adidas is just a hard one to get ungated in? I have purchased 3 different ASINs from 2 different suppliers, one being direct from Adidas. I just can't get it to happen. Yeah, I think, like I said, I don't know if you've tried this yet, but the invoice or the purchase confirmation with delivery confirmation to the address is going to be helpful. Hopefully your purchase or hopefully your billing address and your shipping address are the same. That also shows Amazon that it's hopefully the same address that they have on file as well. So, but I say keep resubmitting. Hopefully you get ungated soon. I don't think it's any harder than any other, Nike, Adidas, Converse, whatever it is. All those are basically the same to get ungated. It's just a matter of how quickly. And again, they could just be having a massive influx in Adidas ungate applications. So, could just be kind of something they're backed up on a little bit. But any tips on anything I didn't mention really?
No, I would just say, I mean, this might be obvious, but since I don't see it, I'll just say it. Make sure you have the right quantities as well, not just the number of ASINs or whatever, but like that they're totaling. I think 10's the magic number. I always go a little above, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So got through all the questions. So another method that we have both used to get discounts is to manually search for them in Google. So it's not just a matter of fact of looking around the website, right? Maybe the website, depending on the website, you can find like a discount at the top, right? They have a bar where you click, or sometimes they'll have, sale highlighted in red on the top search bar, and you can click in and find the discounts there. But sometimes it's not as easy to find, right? And sometimes certain websites will actually have discounts for you if you Google them. So like there's a couple different ones where you I think Finish Line, not Finish Line, Foot Locker. I think it's Foot Locker. You literally Google Foot Locker discounts, and then they give you like a 10 or 15% catch-all, but you can't really find it very easily on the website. But if you Google it, it'll literally take you to the web page, the Foot Locker website, where they list out their discounts that they're currently offering. So you're not going to find it if you just search. You can probably find it, but it's kind of, buried pretty deep. But if you Google the actual search of the website and then discount after it, or coupon codes, they will list out, all the discounts for you that they're currently offering. Also, more with the manual searching, message the customer service. If they have a quick chat right on the website, reach out to the chat and they say, ask us anything. Say, are you running any discounts? Right. And sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, we have our best discount right now is 25% on this category. Or yeah, we're running a site-wide 15% off with this code. And they'll send you the code. So it doesn't hurt to do a little bit extra, even if you have a good price, right? Even if maybe you're getting a 10% discount with your catch-all and that's profitable. Why not try? Takes you 30 seconds to reach out to the chat and maybe they send you a 15%. Now you save yourself 5% margin. And all is good. So,
yep. Something else I was thinking, it's funny. I'm always on the fence about this. When emails get sent out with coupons to anybody that's ever provided an email address to check out of a site, that's not super advantageous. But if there's like membership programs, or VIP programs on one end, I think that could be advantageous. But then I also don't like to bring too much attention to my account. So I've always been on the fence with that. However, one thing I really like, and I do this with some beauty brands that I buy from overseas, completely legitimate, but they're in like the UK. They have quite a few big ones. One of them, it requires like a $50 a month membership to get free shipping. So, a couple orders, it pays for itself. But a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And so although this doesn't reduce your price necessarily outside of shipping, it's just another way to have less competition. And my mind just happened to go there when I was talking about the VIP stuff. So as I'm saying it, I know it's not a discount per se, but a great way to have less competition is actually to spend the money to create your moat. And then you will save money on shipping over the long run as well.
Yeah, and that kind of applies to like, a Costco membership or a Sam's Club membership.
Right.
Like there's definitely more competition there because it's a pretty low barrier to entry and it's easy and a lot of people shop there, but there's definitely less competition, at Costco online than there is Nike.com. I mean, that's just pretty obvious. So yeah, I think that's a pretty nice way to build that extra margin or just, put yourself in front of products that might have a little bit less competition than the average products you're finding on other websites that are, have a lot more traffic in the US.
Yeah. You want to?
I was say go to some questions in the chat.
Sure.
if you're good.
Yeah.
So Robert asks, if you have a wholesale invoice, try that for the Ungate. I've gotten auto ungated with Nike and a bunch of other big name brands with official looking invoice with the address on there. Yeah, if I'm not 100% sure if Adidas sends, I know they send like your order confirmation email, but Nike sends like a payment overview once the product ships, and that is more closely related to like an invoice. But yeah, I think keep trying on the original application. Opening a new one isn't going to save you any time. So I would definitely just keep trying. Not sure what exactly the bot was looking for, but it hasn't been too strict from my experience lately. Yeah, I think I'm ungated in so many things. I don't come across a lot of products that I'm currently gated in, so I haven't had to submit too many ungate applications. But with the Adidas Ungate, yeah, I know people are getting ungated, so don't get too discouraged. It'll happen. SellerAmp says that a product is getting 900 sales a month, but I'm only getting a sale every other day. The product only has 2 variations. A couple different things. You can go ahead.
I mean, you might know more than me, but the first thing that came to mind is one, even let's say if 900 was accurate, and first off, whether it's SellerAmp or anything else, it's all arbitrary. For two, if there's only 2 variations, but one of them gets 99% of them, that doesn't really apply, then that could make sense too. How many sellers are there? Who's winning the buy box? Are you priced appropriately? So all of those things first you have to look at. Second off, it could also just be a glitch. It could be inaccurate or whatever the case may be. And this is where looking in Keepa and those other context clues, Seller Amp, even if they're right a lot, again, it's just another helpful context clue. I would never base a decision solely on their estimate or any estimate.
Oh yeah, definitely. You want to look at more information, and it says 900 a month. I can't imagine it's too far off of that. Like it's not going to be selling 50 times a month when it says 900. But look at the rank too. The rank is gonna, in Keepa, what has the rank been averaging over the last 30 days? If it's been, sitting at a 20K rank, and then in the last 10 days it shot up to 300K, right? It got kicked off of a parent variation listing or something, that would definitely influence the sales. But yeah, check your Keepa data, check the buy box statistics. If there's 50 sellers and each seller has 10,000 reviews and 200 in stock, then it's going to be a little bit tougher to get the buy box rotation. But yeah, sometimes listings are weird too, where you'll have a good amount of stock, you'll be in stock, there's not a ton of competition, but sometimes it takes like 3 weeks to get a sale, and then all of a sudden, boom, they all sell. They all sell within a couple days. I've had that happen multiple times, and I don't have any really good explanation for it, but it'll be like, man, the stuff's checked in. It says I have stuff in stock. I can search my seller or my storefront on the listing itself, but I'm not getting the buy box, or even if I am, it's not selling. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, I sell out of all 10 units in like 2 days. And I'm like, okay, should I replenish a ton more, or should I, or is that going to happen again? It's the personal data is definitely the best to have, but
there's atypical stuff too. Like somebody could just be dominating the buy box for a particular listing. So that's another data point to look at. Is if 10 sellers, does one person have 94%, for whatever reason, right? So just chalk it up. It could just be Amazon,
Yep. And if you missed the very beginning of this call, we were talking about variations and how to understand the ratings percentage, and that might get you a little more context as well. So
that could probably be a good episode topic, actually, is how we break down variations,
I think so. I think that's a huge topic.
Yeah.
What do you think of Napido?
I don't know what that is.
I haven't heard of that either. Any store leads that provide invoices for Converse products? Not sure. Converse.com doesn't provide a pretty good looking order confirmation. Sometimes, well, not just Converse, but this is, I guess, just some tip that you could use for Ungates. Doesn't hurt to reach out to customer service from any website and just ask, can you provide an invoice for my recent order? Sometimes they will send you an actual, maybe they'll mail it to you, right? Maybe it's a paper copy, but the paper copy will definitely be usually a very detailed invoice where it has the address that it came from, the brand's name on it, all that stuff. Sometimes smaller websites will do that less reluctantly. Otherwise, some sites will just say, hey, your order confirmation on the site is all you get. But just a little bit extra in there.
Yep.
What else do we have for discounts? I feel like we named a good amount of stuff, but maybe I could, if you got something, go ahead. Otherwise, I could talk maybe a little bit more on the phone the texting catch-all.
Okay. Basically, last thing I'll end on, or last that I have, at least that I could remembered. I'm sure there's more. When you get familiar with sites, you kind of understand when their sales cycles go on. And so, just for instance, if start to understand this site predominantly always has their sales starting on Fridays, and they always do buy one, get one 50% off and stack a 20% once a month. Well, then you get to a point that to do all of your buying for most items from that site on that sale period, right? And so the message there is get to understand certain sites, visit them frequently, and get a feel for when they have their most amount of sales. I'm sure they just have dates already picked out, or certain financial fiscal times of year and things like that. The other thing is not going to bring down your price. I never ever use Rakuten to drive down my price, because that doesn't affect what I pay. That's just on the back end, so it doesn't affect your cost of goods. But there are certain days to be aware of that, or weeks that's like 15% cash back on like everything. And that, again, doesn't drive down the price, and everybody gets that opportunity. But I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but that could make more things make sense as well, getting to stay on top of that.
Yep. Yeah, as much as like a lot of people will say don't factor it into your profit, which I totally agree, don't factor the cash back into your profits. But if you're on the fence about a 25% ROI item and it looks like it's not going to tank because a lot of people are maybe on the fence about it, but there is a 15% Rakuten, right? If you're spending $100, there's a guaranteed $15 profit most of the time. I mean, some sites, Rakuten like won't pay the cash back, but most sites, especially if you've used them before, like I know which sites are guaranteed cash back from Rakuten pretty easily because I've been using it for so long. But if you're getting that extra $15 plus, your profits on the product, maybe it's enough to swing in and say, all right, I'm okay taking a little bit less margin on this, knowing I get, a good chunk of cash back. And you won't see that for a while, right? It's kind of that delayed gratitude, but it's, sometimes it does make things a little more enticing, and depending on risk tolerance might make it worth it. Like they did have like some 10% recently, or maybe they're still running it. And when you see a big $30, $50, balance get dropped into your Rakuten from one order, it's like, all right, that's a pretty big chunk.
And by the way, there's no price tanking when it comes to cashback. That's just like a done deal. You know what I mean?
Once it's there, it's there.
So that's nice.
Stephanie asks, when shopping on brand specific websites, if I find a bundle option, it's almost always profitable. Is it typical, or have I just had good luck?
Are you interpreting that as you find two different products that you can bundle together, or you're saying there's like a multi-pack on the site and you're buying that and selling it?
I'm almost also curious. Are you finding like a 2-pack and you're breaking it up and selling it in a single pack?
Yeah.
But otherwise, I maybe interpreted that as, you're buying like a shampoo and a conditioner separately, right, and selling them as a bundle.
I would say this, like if you're on the right site at the right time, like I'm very convinced that, like I always say this, I almost never just find one winning product from a site or a sale or a brand. So like where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So that could very well be the case. But I am curious, like as we were asking, like specifically what you mean.
Yeah, the little bit of context there will maybe give us a little bit different of an answer, but I mean, it kind of just comes and goes. If you're good at spotting those bundles, and bundles are sometimes a good option because it's one of those things that might not show up in the search results when you're copy and pasting the title, right? Like the title shows up, and sometimes you need a little extra text in the title to actually get like a multi-pack to show up in the search results, especially if you're using like SellerAmp and you're only seeing the sidebar, right? Sometimes it'll show like a multi-pack in there, but sometimes it doesn't. And if you just add pack of 2, pack of 3 in the text of the title, sometimes it'll bring up a completely different list of listings.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to find that if people are just cruising through SellerAmp and skipping it because they didn't find anything good. So if you do a little bit more due diligence, you're definitely going to probably have some better luck more often. Hopefully. Buy 4 for $30 when individual item is $10 each. All right. Yeah.
I think I'm still trying to figure out what you're doing with those 4. Are you then selling 2-packs? Are you selling 1-packs? But regardless, I'll just say this: when you can buy, like, there's a lot of vitamins and supplements I buy from like non-major brands. You can buy 6 at a much heavier discount than a 1-pack, right? And then it's advantageous because the average consumer from Amazon only needs 1. So for them to buy the 1 and then have to pay for shipping and not get that bundled thing, it's cheaper on Amazon for them to buy the 1-pack there. And we get it so much cheaper from the site because we're buying it as 6 or 12. And then you go to check out and you get 20, and you know what I mean? So like, the average consumer doesn't buy at the level that OA stuff does. Sometimes they don't need 4 of something. So it's just like the numbers make sense. And maybe there's competition hasn't found that site. Maybe you're there at the right time. Like maybe it's pure luck. Who knows,
Yep, exactly. That was what I meant by a bundle, like buying in bulk. They're usually, yeah. Yep. So I think we answered that pretty well. So if you're finding that stuff, that's awesome. That's really awesome, because not a lot of sites, not every site too is giving you discounts for buying more of their product. And maybe the brand specific websites will offer that more often, because again, they're only selling their brand, so they're going to try to get as many sales. Like a Walgreens, for example. I mean, they're running discounts all the time, but they don't have probably more incentive to sell more Nature Made versus Nature's Bounty, right? They're just going to run discounts on everything to try to get as many sales for their company as possible. But certain websites, like I don't know, I don't even know some brand specific websites specifically, but like, they're going to try to sell as much of their brand as possible. So if they're going to give you discounts for buying in bulk, that's awesome.
Yep.
Well,
I will say on the other side of things, if something is too good to be true, sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. But just take a sec, or don't go as deep, or wait till you get some sales. Check to see, have people returned them? Are they leaving feedback? And sometimes you just have winners.
And doesn't hurt to just really triple check especially if it's vitamins. Let's just assume we're talking like vitamins, because that's one of the most common bundles. Or buying in bulk too. Just make sure you got the right, the right dosage, the right tablet count. That stuff's so easy to mix up. And I've a couple times, almost purchased stuff thinking I was going to make, 50% ROI, but realizing the one I was purchasing was a 90 count of tablets. And then the one on Amazon was a 180 count. So it's like, I would have had to buy 2 of them to make up for it. Wouldn't have been profitable having to buy 2. So, just doesn't hurt to really do your double checks on those. But yeah, if you're finding the stuff, hey, no complaints. That's awesome.
Yep.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here. That was some really good questions. We got a ton of questions. I think the discussion was super helpful, especially for new sellers. If you really are having a hard time sourcing, keep at it. You're gonna find stuff eventually. You're gonna understand the sales cycles of the websites. Like I said, Jonathan and I have been selling on Amazon for years now. So we know basically when holidays come around, we can probably tell you at least 5 or 6 of our best websites what sale is probably going to happen percentage-wise on that site. And then we're stacking that with other discounts, right? We're stacking that with rewards. We're stacking that with sometimes discounted gift cards. Sometimes, I've gotten discounts in my email from, let's say I ordered from website and they sent they canceled half my order because they only had 6 in stock instead of 10. But then in that email saying, sorry, we canceled half your order, here's a 20% discount. That happens too. So there's a million different ways, as many different discounts and ways to reduce your price that you can stack on top of each other per order. That's just going to put you in the best buying position. And if the price does start to drop, right, knowing you have the lowest price you possibly could find, and maybe some other sellers missed out on, like if it's a Walgreens, right, you have some rewards. If it's an Ulta Beauty, you can build up rewards. So if you bought it with the 20% discount that everyone used, plus you used a $10 bonus rewards that you had generated from buying in the past, and you bought 10 units, you have $1 cheaper buy cost than every other seller that didn't have that access to that. So you do have a little bit more margin. You have, you're a little bit more tank proof, the cheaper you can get. So, that's what we're working on every single purchase. We're not just buying and saying, oh, well, we have the 20% site wide, we're good enough. We're checking those things, even if it means an extra 2 minutes of our time looking to make sure we're getting the lowest price. Cause even if it takes a little extra time to go and type in your phone number or your catch-all and then wait for the email to come through and then apply the discount, it's worth it. It really is. So, well, great discussion today. You got anything else to add to what we talked about?
I think that was really good. Again, the catch-all email, if there's one thing you do, look up a video how to do that.
I think I maybe even created one. If I didn't, somebody on YouTube has created a video on how to create a catch-all for your Amazon business. So
Yeah.
check it out. That's definitely something you should do tonight, because you can use it on almost like most orders have some sort of catch-all. A lot of websites do, so you can probably use it. But thanks for everyone for watching. Had a great discussion today. Appreciate all of you for sticking with us every week. We've been pretty consistent, but we're happy to do this every Thursday. So we enjoy it. It's good banter. We love chatting with other Amazon sellers in the chat. So we'll see you guys next week, Thursday, hopefully, and have a good week.
See you guys.